Did you know that most of us spend our lives waiting for someday? We tell ourselves, someday I'll be happy, someday I'll pursue my dreams, someday I'll live the life I truly want. But what if someday was actually today? What if I told you that the secret to unlocking your best life lies in a simple shift of perspective? In today's video, we're diving deep into the transformative power of living as if, a strategy that can revolutionize how you approach your goals and dreams right here, right now. Throughout this discussion, we'll explore how changing your mindset can not only alter your immediate reality but also set the stage for long-term fulfillment. I'm thrilled to share these insights, and I genuinely believe you'll find them both empowering and practical. If you value what we're doing here, consider showing your support with a simple free favor. Hit that subscribe button. It helps us keep producing content that makes a difference. And remember, each part of this video builds on the last, so make sure you don't skip any sections. Stick with me throughout, and let's unlock some powerful strategies together. Let's make someday today. Let me share a little secret with you. There was a time when I lived my life on hold, always waiting for the right moment to make my dreams a reality. It's easy to think that someday we'll have everything perfectly aligned, and then we'll be ready to chase what truly matters. But that day, it never just arrives. We have to create it. I started to wonder, what if I lived as though I had already achieved my dreams? This shift in perspective was inspired by Stoic philosophy, which teaches us to focus on our responses to life's events rather than the events themselves. Stoics like Marcus Aurelius believed in using every moment as an opportunity to practice virtues like courage, wisdom, and self-discipline. So I asked myself, what would a successful version of me do today? Not tomorrow, not next year, but today? This approach transformed my life. Instead of waiting for opportunities, I began creating them. I acted with the confidence and intent of someone who had already succeeded, which led to opening doors I didn't even know existed. It was as if the universe began conspiring to help me succeed, because I was finally in tune with what I truly wanted and believed I could achieve it. Now, think about your own aspirations. What could you achieve if you started living as if your biggest goals were already accomplished? Imagine the sense of purpose and direction you'd feel each morning. It's not about fooling yourself, but about stepping into the shoes of your best self and moving forward with unwavering conviction. Remember, as if isn't about pretending. It's a practice in courage, a way to bridge the gap between who you are and who you want to be. And in this gap, you'll find not just the achievements you desire, but also profound growth in your character. Because when we act as if, we're not just living, we're thriving, propelled by the best version of ourselves. This is the Stoic way, living each day as if it were both your first and your last, with the vitality and vigor that comes from aligning with your deepest values and ambitions. So, let's take that step today, not tomorrow. Act as if you are already the person who has achieved everything you ever wanted. Watch how it changes, not just the things you do, but also how you feel about everything around you. This isn't just about achieving goals. It's about transforming your entire outlook on life. Let's delve into a powerful exercise that I often revisit when I feel disconnected from my goals. Visualization isn't just about dreaming. It's about creating a vivid mental blueprint of your future. Picture this. You've already reached your biggest goal. Can you see it? What are you doing? Who are you with? And most importantly, how do you feel in that moment? I remember the first time I practiced this, I was aiming to become a sought-after speaker, sharing insights on life and Stoicism. I visualized stepping onto the stage, the lights, the audience's expectant faces, and the profound silence waiting for my first words. But the true shift came when I focused deeply on the emotions I felt in that vision. Confidence, excitement, fulfillment. This wasn't just a daydream. It was an emotional rehearsal for what was to come. The Stoics were masters at using visualization not as a form of escape, but as a tool to prepare for reality. They called it premeditatio malorum, where they visualized challenges to prepare themselves mentally and emotionally for future hardships. In our context, it means using visualization to fortify ourselves against the fear of failure and to bolster our resolve to pursue our ambitions relentlessly. Every morning, I spend a few minutes in this visualization, not just seeing but feeling the reality of my achievements. This practice propels me out of bed with a vigor that no cup of coffee can match. It's about aligning my emotional and mental state with my goals, ensuring that my actions throughout the day are intentional and directed toward making that visualized future a reality. So, what vision will you hold in your mind? What emotions will you choose to feel as if your success is already a fact? Embrace this technique and weave it into your daily routine. Feel the joy, the pride, and the sheer thrill of achieving your dreams, even before they materialize. This isn't just optimism, it's a strategic rehearsal for your success. I'll let you in on a transformative moment from my own journey. There was a time when my aspirations seemed like distant, almost unreachable stars. I wanted to be recognized as a leader in my field and influential and inspiring. But here's the twist. I decided to start acting the part long before the accolades and acknowledgments came my way. I began each day asking myself, how would the leader I aspire to be handle this? Whether it was dealing with a challenging client or navigating setbacks, I stepped up. I made decisions from a place of authority and confidence, not hesitance. I dressed the part, spoke with conviction, and perhaps most importantly, I made strategic choices that a successful person in my field would make. This wasn't about putting on a mask, it was about embodying the best version of myself, one decision at a time. Now, think about your own goals. How does the person you want to become handle their day-to-day tasks? How do they interact with others? How do they manage stress and setbacks? Emulating these behaviors before they become a reality is not just play acting, it's a profound exercise in self-actualization. The Stoics emphasize the importance of living in accordance with nature, which, in our case, translates to living in a way that aligns with our true potential. Let me ask you this. What can you do right now, today, that aligns with your vision of success? Maybe it's tackling a project you've been postponing, or perhaps it's reaching out to a mentor. Each action, no matter how small, is a step toward becoming who you really want to be. And yes, there will be days when it feels like you're just going through the motions. But remember, consistency is key. Every act, every decision in line with your future self fortifies your path to becoming that person. Embracing your new role before it materializes isn't just a strategy, it's a profound transformation that begins deep within your emotional core. Let me share a chapter from my own life. When I first aimed to become a motivational speaker, every morning, before the sun even peeped through the curtains, I stood in front of my mirror, rehearsed my speeches, and soaked in the applause I imagined echoed through packed auditoriums. This wasn't about wishful thinking. It was about emotionally anchoring myself in my future reality. I still remember the butterflies, the nerves, and the raw energy I felt during those mornings. But here's the key. I didn't wait for my first actual applause to feel validated or successful. I allowed myself to feel proud, capable, and genuinely moved by my own journey and the messages I shared. This emotional resonance is crucial because it cements your belief in your potential and your path. It's what fuels you through setbacks and rejections. The Stoics often spoke about amor fati, a love of fate. They believed in embracing every aspect of life, not just the joys, but also the challenges, as necessary parts of your journey. By allowing myself to feel the emotions associated with my desired role, I was practicing amor fati. I was not just waiting for success to come and find me, I was living it in my emotions and reactions. How about you? What emotions would you feel if you achieved your greatest aspiration right now? Try to live those emotions today. Feel the joy, the gratitude, and yes, even the responsibility that comes with your dreams. When you align your emotional state with your ambitions, you're not just hoping for a future, you're living it. This practice doesn't just prepare you for your dreams, it attracts them to you. Because when you resonate with the energy of your dreams, the world can't help but respond in kind. In my own journey, the realization hit hard that dreaming big wasn't enough. It had to be paired with daily, actionable steps. This lesson became clear when I committed to writing a book on Stoicism. The project was daunting, immense like a mountain looming before me. However, breaking it down into daily, manageable tasks transformed what seemed like an insurmountable challenge into a series of small, achievable victories. Every morning I made it a point to write at least one page. Some days the words flowed freely, other days it was like squeezing water from a stone. But regardless of the struggle, this daily discipline was non-negotiable. It wasn't just about progress on my book, it was about reinforcing my identity as a writer and a scholar of Stoicism. I was living proof of Marcus Aurelius' advice, "The color of your thoughts dyes your soul." By focusing on positive, proactive thoughts, I colored my soul with resilience and determination. Let's translate this approach to your goals. What's your mountain? Maybe it's starting a business, learning a new skill, or improving your health. Break it down. What can you do each day to move one step closer to your summit? It could be as simple as reading for 20 minutes, practicing a new language, or choosing a healthy meal over fast food. These actions might seem small in isolation, but cumulatively, they wield the power to transform your life. Now, I challenge you to think of 3 small actions you can take daily. Write them down. Make them as specific and time-bound as possible. For example, instead of saying, "I will work out more," say, "I will walk for 30 minutes at 7 a.m. This specificity acts as a mini contract with yourself, and fulfilling it daily builds integrity and self-trust. In the spirit of Stoicism, remember that it's not the actions themselves, but how we approach them that matters. Approach each small task with the same seriousness and dedication as you would your ultimate goal. This mindset shift is pivotal. Each small task completed is a brick in the foundation of your dreams. By committing to these daily actions, you're not just hoping for a better future, you're actively constructing it. Doubts and fears are companions on any journey worth taking. I recall the early days of my speaking career, standing backstage, heart pounding, palms sweaty, questioning if I was really cut out for this. What if I failed? What if the audience didn't resonate with what I had to say? These questions would swirl in my mind, threatening to undermine all my preparations and efforts. But then I would take a deep breath and remember a core Stoic principle. We suffer more often in imagination than in reality. Seneca, this realization was transformative. It reminded me that fear is often not rooted in the actual events that confront us, but in the shadows of our minds. Acknowledging this didn't make the fear disappear instantly, but it allowed me to see it for what it truly was, an internal obstacle, not an external truth. Facing skepticism, whether from within or from others, is a part of the process of pursuing anything that defies the status quo. To move past it, the first step is to simply acknowledge these fears without judgment. Say to yourself, "Yes, I'm scared. Yes, I have doubts." This acknowledgement is not a sign of weakness, but of profound courage. It is the first step in reclaiming your power from the clutches of fear. Next, ask yourself, what would I do if I weren't afraid? This question opens up a space for you to explore possibilities without the weight of fear. Often, it's not about eliminating fear, but about learning to move forward in spite of it. This is what the Stoics excel at. They harness their perceptions and focus on what is within their control, which is always their own actions and responses. Turn this into a practice. Each time you encounter a doubt or fear, write it down, acknowledge it. Then, write a counterstatement that reflects the action you would take if fear were not a factor. This practice not only helps in managing fears, but also builds a reservoir of courage and resilience that you can draw upon over time. When I first embarked on my journey to integrate Stoicism into my daily life, I quickly learned that the true challenge wasn't in understanding its principles, but in applying them consistently, every day, in every decision. I needed to embody patience, resilience, and wisdom, traits that are easy to admire but incredibly challenging to live out. especially when you're faced with the stresses and pressures of everyday life. I remember one particularly grueling week when everything that could go wrong did. Clients were unhappy, deadlines were missed, and my personal life felt just as chaotic. It was during these moments, these tests, that the power of consistency became crystal clear. Instead of letting despair take hold, I focused on maintaining my Stoic practices, reflecting on my reactions, focusing on what I could control and accepting what I couldn't. This didn't solve all my problems overnight, but it helped me navigate them with a clarity and calmness that had previously eluded me. Consistency in our actions transforms what are singular acts into habits, and eventually into traits of our character. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Your consistent acts create your reality." Each day, by choosing to act in alignment with my values, no matter the circumstances, I was not only developing resilience, but also actively creating the life I envisioned. Here's what I suggest to anyone watching this. Find your practice, your anchor. That thing that you commit to doing every day, no matter how small. It could be as simple as writing down 3 things you're grateful for, meditating for 5 minutes, or reading a page of a thought-provoking book. The size of the action isn't what transforms you, it's the regularity. It's about doing it on the days you feel good and pushing through on the days when you don't. Think of it as forging your own character in the fire of daily life. Each day is an opportunity to reinforce who you are and who you want to become. This consistency is what builds the bridge between your current self and the ideal self you envision. In the wise words of Seneca, every new beginning comes from some other beginning's end. What if I told you that in just 7 days you could become a completely different person? Not just a slightly improved version of yourself, but someone so transformed that even your closest friends and family would have to take a second look. This isn't some gimmick. This is a disciplined, calculated, and relentless approach to reinventing yourself from the inside out. You don't need years to change. You don't need to wait for the right time. All you need is 1 week, 7 days of absolute commitment to step into a new identity that commands respect, discipline, and purpose. It's about dismantling the patterns that have held you back and forging the habits that create the person you were always meant to be. It's about choosing your future instead of passively waiting for it to happen. Understand this. People who make drastic changes don't wait for a perfect moment. They don't sit around hoping things will get easier. They seize the now. They realize that the version of themselves they dream of becoming isn't waiting for them in the distant future. It's built today, in this very moment. Transformation doesn't happen slowly over years. It happens in an instant. The moment you decide and follow it with unrelenting action. When this week is over, you will not be the same. Your mind, your body, your habits, they will shift to match the highest version of yourself. If you've ever wished for a reset button, this is it. But there's no room for hesitation, no half measures, no excuses. So if you're ready to stop playing small, to stop waiting for change, and to finally take full control of your future, listen closely. Your transformation begins now. It all starts with one decision: to stop lying to yourself, to stop pretending that everything is fine when deep down you know you've been playing small. The hardest thing to do isn't changing your life, it's admitting that you need to change, that the way you've been operating, the habits, the mindset, the distractions, isn't getting you anywhere. That's the real battle. And today, you face it head on. The Stoics had a practice of radical self-honesty. They believed that if you wanted to master life, you had to first master yourself. Seneca once wrote, "A consciousness of wrongdoing is the first step to salvation." Think about that. Most people never take that first step because it's uncomfortable. It's easier to blame the world, the economy, other people. But if you keep blaming everything outside of you, you stay powerless. The moment you take full responsibility, when you stop making excuses and start owning your actions, that's the moment your transformation truly begins. So today, you're going to do something that most people never do. You're going to take a brutally honest inventory of your life. And I mean brutal. No sugarcoating, no justifications. Grab a notebook, open your phone's notes app, whatever works. But write this down. What habits are holding you back? What patterns keep repeating in your life that you know are destructive? Where are you wasting time? What fears have kept you from taking action? What are you tolerating that you should have cut out a long time ago? If this exercise makes you uncomfortable, good. That means you're finally seeing the truth. And now, here's the hardest part. You have to let go of the old you, the version of yourself that made excuses, the one that procrastinated, the one that allowed bad habits to take control. That version has to die today. Marcus Aurelius said, "It is not death that a man should fear, but he should fear never beginning to live." What he meant was that real death isn't the end of life. It's the refusal to truly live while you're here. And if you don't confront the parts of yourself that are keeping you stuck, you will stay exactly where you are, watching life pass you by. So how do you do this? You need a symbolic act, something to mark this as the official moment you left your old self behind. Take that list you wrote, the habits, the fears, the excuses, and destroy it. Burn it, rip it up, throw it away. Whatever it takes to physically commit to the change. The Stoics believed in the power of symbolic rituals to reinforce decisions. They knew that the mind needs proof, evidence that a change has begun. This act is your proof, and let me be clear, the old you will try to come back. In moments of doubt when things get tough, your mind will try to pull you back into your comfort zone. That's why every time an old habit resurfaces, you remind yourself, that's not me anymore. You don't negotiate. You don't entertain the thought. You shut it down. Because the only way to truly change is to burn the bridge to your past self, so there is no way back. Your habits are either working for you or against you. There's no in between. Every single day, the things you do, the routines you follow, and the choices you make are shaping your future. And most people, they don't even realize it. Now, I know restructuring your entire day might sound overwhelming, but trust me, it's about making those small, incremental changes that add up to huge transformations. Start with the morning. How you begin your day sets the tone for the rest of it. Think about it. If you start off rushed and chaotic, that's likely how you'll feel for hours afterward. But start calm, planned, and with purpose, and you maintain that control and focus throughout the day. So tomorrow, when you wake up, take a moment, just a few minutes, sit at the edge of your bed and, like Seneca, who advocated for quiet reflection to prepare for the day's challenges, reflect on what you want to achieve today. Not just the tasks, but the personal attributes you want to embody. Once you've set your intentions for the day, make your bed. It's a simple task, but as Admiral McRaven shared in his famous speech, if you want to change the world, start by making your bed. It gives you the first accomplishment of the day and sets you up to keep achieving. Then give yourself some time for a bit of exercise. It doesn't have to be a full workout, just something to get the blood flowing and wake your body up. The Stoics were big on the connection between a sound mind and a sound body. Epictetus used to say that it's essential to exercise not just our minds but our bodies too, keeping both in good health. After you've got some movement in, make sure you're giving your body the right fuel, a healthy breakfast, something that makes you feel good, not something you'll regret an hour later. Remember, this is about setting up patterns that boost your energy and focus, not drain it. As you move through your day, stick to this new pattern. Instead of reaching for your phone to scroll through social media during breaks, maybe step outside, take a walk, or read a page or two of a good book. Seneca would often take these moments to write thoughts in his journal, reflecting on his behaviors and reactions to events, a practice that can help you stay aligned with your new goals. And as your day winds down, take some time to wind down with it. Maybe establish a new evening routine that involves less screen time and more time connecting with yourself or your loved ones. Before bed, reflect on your day, just like Marcus Aurelius did. He would ask himself questions like, what evil have I cured today? Or what failing have I resisted? Use these questions to audit your day, not to judge yourself harshly, but to observe and plan how you can be even better tomorrow. By revamping your daily routine like this, you're not just changing what you do, you're changing how you think. You're training yourself to live more deliberately, more stoically, with a clear focus on what you can control and letting go of what you cannot. Each day becomes a step toward becoming not just the person you want to be, but the person you are meant to be. So keep at it, each day, one day at a time, until these practices are not just something you do, but a part of who you are. Your body is the physical manifestation of your discipline. It reflects the choices you make every single day, whether you push yourself or let yourself slide. And here's a truth most people don't like to admit. The way you carry yourself, the way you move, the way you physically exist in the world, it all matters. Not just for aesthetics, but for who you are becoming. The ancient Stoics understood this deeply. They believed that if you wanted to master your mind, you had to start by mastering your body. Seneca once wrote, "The body should be treated more rigorously that it may not be disobedient to the mind." In other words, control your body and your mind will follow. Most people think of physical transformation as just going to the gym or dieting, but it's so much bigger than that. It's about forging resilience, training yourself to endure discomfort, and pushing through resistance, both in workouts and in life. The Stoics deliberately put themselves in uncomfortable situations to train for hardship. They practiced voluntary discomfort, things like fasting, walking barefoot, or sleeping on the floor, not to suffer, but to prove to themselves that they could. Because once you understand that you can handle discomfort, you stop fearing it. And when you stop fearing discomfort, you become unstoppable. So today, you move, not just for the sake of looking better, but to become better. If you're not someone who exercises regularly, that changes now. And no, you don't need a gym membership or expensive equipment. You just need to start. Go for a run, do body weight exercises, lift something heavy, get your heart rate up. Break a sweat, feel your body come alive. This isn't about punishment, it's about awakening something in you that's been dormant for too long. The feeling of effort, of pushing past your limits, that's where confidence is built. That's where you begin to reshape your identity. And let's be clear, this isn't about chasing perfection, it's about consistency. You don't need to train like a professional athlete, but you do need to train like someone who respects themselves. Someone who understands that discipline in the body creates discipline in the mind. That's why Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You must build up your life action by action, and be content if each one achieves its goal as far as possible." One workout won't change your life, but the habit of showing up every day will. Now let's talk about fuel. What you put into your body dictates your energy, your mood, your focus. The Stoics believed in moderation, in avoiding excess and indulgence that weakens the will. Epictetus warned against being ruled by cravings, saying, "No man is free who is not master of himself." So today, you eat with intention. No more mindless snacking. No more foods that leave you sluggish and foggy. You don't have to be extreme, just make better choices. More whole foods, more water, less of the junk that keeps you stuck. Every time you eat, ask yourself, is this helping me become stronger, sharper, more disciplined? If the answer is no, you already know what to do. Posture, movement, presence. It all shifts when you start treating your body like a tool instead of an afterthought. When you strengthen your body, you carry yourself differently. You stand taller, you move with purpose, and trust me, people notice. More importantly, you notice. Because the stronger you become physically, the more unshakable you become mentally. Your mind is either your greatest weapon or your biggest weakness. It will either push you forward or hold you back. And the crazy thing, you get to decide which one it is. Most people go through life as prisoners of their own thoughts, trapped by invisible walls built from self-doubt, fear, and excuses. They tell themselves stories. I'm not good enough. I'm not lucky enough. I'm not capable enough. Until those stories become their reality. But here's the truth. Your mind is just a collection of patterns, beliefs, and habits. And just like any bad habit, negative thinking can be broken. That's exactly what today is about. Rewiring your mindset, tearing down every limiting belief and replacing it with something stronger. The Stoics were relentless when it came to controlling their thoughts. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength." In other words, what happens to you, the real battle, isn't out there in the world. It's in your head. So today, you stop reacting like a puppet controlled by circumstances, and you start thinking like a warrior who owns every situation. The first step, awareness. Pay attention to your thoughts today. Notice how often doubt creeps in, how quickly you make excuses, how easily you let negativity take over. Every time you hear that little voice saying, "I can't," stop it in its tracks. Question it, challenge it. Ask yourself, who told me that? Where did that belief come from? Is it even true? Because most of the time it's not. It's just an old script you've been running on autopilot, a story you picked up from someone else, a fear disguised as logic. The Stoics called this examining impressions, testing your thoughts instead of blindly believing them. Now, let's get practical. Every time a limiting belief pops into your head today, replace it with its opposite. Instead of, "I don't know how to do this," say, "I'll figure it out." Instead of, "I'm not strong enough," say, "I'm becoming stronger every day." This isn't about fake positivity, it's about shifting your focus. The Stoics didn't sit around hoping for good outcomes. They trained their minds to be resilient no matter what happened. Seneca wrote, "A man is as miserable as he thinks he is." If your thoughts create your experience, why not start thinking like someone who is unstoppable? And let's talk about fear. Fear is the single greatest killer of potential. It stops people from taking risks, from speaking up, from chasing the life they actually want. But here's the thing, fear is always worse in your mind than in reality. The Stoics had a practice called premeditatio malorum, the premeditation of evils. They would visualize the worst-case scenario before it happened, preparing themselves mentally so that when challenges arose, they were ready. They didn't avoid fear, they stared it down and took its power away. So today, think about the things you've been avoiding because of fear. Maybe it's starting that project, having that difficult conversation, stepping out of your comfort zone. Whatever it is, picture the absolute worst-case scenario. Now ask yourself, could I survive that? Could I handle it? The answer is almost always yes. Once you realize that, fear loses its grip. Another thing that keeps people stuck, complaining. Complaining is mental poison. It shifts your focus from what you can control to what you can't. Marcus Aurelius had a rule. Don't waste time blaming, whining, or wishing things were different. Instead, focus all your energy on what you can do. So today, catch yourself when you complain, whether it's out loud or just in your thoughts, and stop immediately. Ask yourself, what's one action I can take to fix this? If there's nothing you can do, then accept it and move on. No more wasted energy. No matter how strong, disciplined, or successful you become, if you neglect the people around you, you'll always feel like something is missing. Because here's the truth, we are built for connection. Even the most independent, self-sufficient person needs relationships that challenge them, support them, and make them better. The Stoics understood this deeply. Marcus Aurelius, despite being the most powerful man in the Roman Empire, constantly reminded himself that he was just one piece of a greater whole. He wrote, "We were born for cooperation, like feet, like hands, like eyelids, like the rows of the upper and lower teeth." In other words, trying to do life alone isn't strength, it's weakness. But let's be real, relationships aren't always easy. People are messy, unpredictable, and sometimes frustrating. And maybe you've convinced yourself that you're better off keeping to yourself, avoiding the hassle. But if you think about it, the greatest moments of your life, the ones that truly meant something, weren't about money, achievements, or status. They were about people. The late-night conversations that changed your perspective, the friend who showed up when you needed them most, the mentor who pushed you to think bigger. These moments weren't about what you had, they were about who you had. So today, it's time to strengthen your relationships, not just the ones that are easy, but the ones that truly matter. And that starts with a simple but often overlooked habit, being present. In our world of distractions where most people can't get through a conversation without checking their phone, the ability to give someone your full attention is rare, but it's powerful. Seneca wrote, Wherever there is a human being, there is an opportunity for kindness. That means every interaction, whether it's with a friend, a coworker, or even a stranger, is a chance to be intentional, to connect, to leave someone better than you found them. Start with the people closest to you. When was the last time you had a deep conversation with your parents, your siblings, your best friend? Not the quick, how's it going, but a real, meaningful talk. Call them, meet up with them, ask them questions, and actually listen to their answers. Because here's something most people don't realize. Everyone is fighting a battle you know nothing about. Even the strongest, most put-together people have struggles they don't talk about. And sometimes, the smallest act of kindness, the simplest, "Hey, I've been thinking about you," can make more of a difference than you'll ever know. Now let's talk about the people you surround yourself with, because not all relationships are worth keeping. Some people lift you up, challenge you, and make you better. Others drain your energy, fill your head with negativity, and keep you stuck in old patterns. The Stoics were ruthless about this. Epictetus said, "The key is to keep company only with people who uplift you, whose presence calls forth your best." Take a hard look at the people in your life. Are they pushing you toward the person you want to become, or are they holding you back? If it's the latter, it's time to distance yourself. That doesn't mean you have to cut people off cold, but it does mean being intentional about who gets your time and energy, because time is your most valuable resource, and who you spend it with determines the direction of your life. And finally, don't just strengthen relationships, build new ones. If you don't have people in your life who inspire and challenge you, go find them. Join a new community. Reach out to someone you admire. Put yourself in places where high-level people gather. The Stoics believed in seeking wisdom from others, learning from those who have walked the path before you. Seneca was a mentor to Nero. Epictetus was a teacher to many. No one grows in isolation. If you want to become the best version of yourself, you need to surround yourself with people who reflect that version. Most people drift through life without a plan. They wake up, go to work, pay their bills, scroll through their phones, and repeat year after year without ever asking themselves, where am I actually going? They let life happen to them instead of deciding where they want to go. But here's the thing. If you don't have a direction, you'll never get anywhere. The Stoics were big on this. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "A man's life is dyed by the color of his thoughts. What you focus on, what you plan for, and what you consistently work toward. That's what shapes your future. And if you're not clear on what that future looks like, you'll end up stuck in the same cycles, wondering why nothing ever changes." By now, you've spent the past 5 days tearing down old habits, sharpening your mind, and strengthening your body. But transformation isn't just about becoming better. It's about building a future that reflects that new version of you. And that doesn't happen by accident. It happens by planning, intentionally, strategically, and with absolute clarity. Seneca said, "If one does not know to which port one is sailing, no wind is favorable." Think about that. If you don't have a clear goal, it doesn't matter how much effort you put in. You'll just keep drifting. So today, we fix that. It's time to take control of your future and design it with purpose. And don't say, "I don't know what I want." You do. You just haven't given yourself the time or permission to be honest about it. So start with this question. If everything in my life aligned perfectly in the next 5 years, what would it look like? Not just in a vague, "I want to be successful" kind of way. Be specific. Where are you living? What kind of work are you doing? What does your day look like? Who is around you? How do you feel waking up in the morning? The clearer you are, the easier it is to move toward that vision. Now, take that 5-year vision and break it down. What needs to happen in the next year to get closer to that? What needs to happen in the next 6 months, the next month, the next week? Most people get stuck because they only dream about the future. They don't create a system for actually getting there. But planning is useless without execution. Marcus Aurelius had a rule: act according to reason, not impulse. That means setting a strategy and following through with discipline. Not just when it's convenient, but every single day. And here's a key point. Your plan needs to be flexible. The Stoics understood that no matter how much you prepare, life is unpredictable. You'll face setbacks. Unexpected challenges will come up. But that's not a reason to stop. It's a reason to adapt. Epictetus said, "Circumstances don't make the man, they reveal him." So when things don't go as planned, adjust, find another way, keep moving forward. The people who succeed aren't the ones with the perfect plan. They're the ones who stay committed no matter what. The Stoics believed deeply in the power of reflection. Every night before he slept, Seneca would review his day, asking himself, what did I do well? What could I have done better? What lessons did I learn? It was about self-judgment. It was about self-mastery, about making sure that each day wasn't wasted but instead used as a building block for something greater. And that's exactly what today is about. Looking back, not with guilt or regret, but with clarity and purpose. So ask yourself, what changed this week? Look at your habits. How do you feel compared to a week ago? Look at your mindset. Are you thinking differently? Look at your confidence. Are you walking with more purpose? If you really committed to this process, the answer should be obvious. But there's something else to reflect on too, the resistance. Because let's be honest, this wasn't easy. There were moments when you wanted to quit, when your old habits tried to pull you back, when the voice of doubt crept in, whispering that this was pointless, that you'd never really change. That voice isn't gone, and it probably never will be. But the difference now, you don't listen to it anymore. Epictetus said, progress is not achieved by luck or accident, but by working on yourself daily. And that's the key. This week wasn't a magic trick. It wasn't about a quick fix or instant results. It was about momentum, about proving to yourself that change is possible when you stop waiting and start moving. But momentum only lasts if you keep it going. So now, the real question is, what happens next? Because let's be clear, if you don't actively continue this work, your old self will creep back in. You'll slip into familiar patterns, and before you know it, a week will pass, then a month, then a year, and you'll wake up wondering how you ended up exactly where you started. That's what happens to most people. They get a taste of change, but they don't lock it in. They don't create systems to sustain it. And that's why today isn't just about reflecting, it's about resetting, solidifying these new habits so they become part of you, not just something you tried once. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself daily, waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one. You already know what needs to be done. You already are the person you want to be. You just have to keep showing up as them. That means continuing the habits you built this week, continuing to push yourself, continuing to eliminate distractions, challenge your mind, strengthen your body, and surround yourself with people who elevate you. You've proven that change isn't something that happens to you, it's something you create. The habits you build, the choices you make, the way you carry yourself, all of it shapes the person you're becoming. And now the only question left is, will you keep going? Most people will wait. They'll tell themselves someday, but not you. You know better, you've already started. So don't stop now. Keep pushing, keep refining, keep evolving.